Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next half an hour. India's Defence Acquisition Council clears 3.60 lakh crore rupees defence acquisition to boost combat readiness. Multi-role fighter aircraft Rafale missiles P-81 among key approvals. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replies on Union Budget in Upper House of the Indian Parliament, highlights steps for India's economic transformation. Counting begins after national election concludes in Bangladesh. Contest pits two coalitions led by Nationalist Party and Jamaat-e-Islami Party. Good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with the latest, India's Defence Acquisition Council, under the chairmanship of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, has cleared the various proposals of the services at an estimated value of about 3.6 lakh crore rupees. For the Indian Air Force, IAF AON, which is acceptance of necessity, was approved for the procurement of multi-role fighter aircraft, Rafale, combat missiles and airship-based high-altitude pseudo-satellite. The procurement of multi-role fighter aircraft will enhance the capability of undertaking air dominance roles across the spectrum of conflict and significantly boost the deterrence capabilities of IAF with long-range offensive strikes. The majority of MRFA to be procured will be manufactured in India. The combat missiles will enhance the standoff ground attack capability with deep strike power and very high accuracy. The acquisition of P-8I aircraft will significantly boost the Navy's combat and war-fighting capability of long-range anti-submarine warfare, maritime surveillance and maritime strike capability. On to Bangladesh now. Bangladesh's Election Commission Secretary said that polling has concluded in 13th parliamentary elections, in which 47% voter turnout was recorded till 2 p.m. local time. Voting in Bangladesh's 13th national parliamentary election and the simultaneous referendum ended at 4:30 p.m. local time on Thursday across 299 constituencies in Bangladesh. The polling began at 7:30 a.m. as per Bangladeshi local time. Voters who were inside the polling centre premises before the official closing time were permitted to cast their ballots. Addressing reporters at Nirbachan Bhavan in Agargaon, Senior Secretary of the Election Commission Secretariat Akhtar Ahmed said turnout data had been received from 32,789 of the 42,651 polling centres across the country. 4 people reportedly died due to health complications during the day. Some political parties, however, raised concerns over the conduct of the election. Results will be announced after the consolidation by returning officers and the Election Commission. Briefing the media persons in New Delhi on Thursday, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said India stands for a free, fair, inclusive and credible elections in Bangladesh. Take a listen.
We should wait for the outcome of the elections to see as to what sort of mandate has come out, and thereafter we will look at issues that are there. On the election per se, you know what our position has been. We stand for a free, fair, inclusive and credible elections in Bangladesh.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said the US was putting every pressure on Russia to end Ukraine conflict as the alliance's defense ministers met in Brussels on Thursday. He also said that the US is doing exactly what should be done when it comes to Ukraine, while mentioning sanctions on Russian oil companies.
Putting every pressure on Russia, as the Europeans are doing, through the sanction packages. Look what has been happening with Lukoil and Rosneft and all the other stuff the US is doing.
Speaking at the Brussels meet, US Under-Secretary of Defense Elbridge Colby said that increased military spending by European countries and Canada will make NATO allies more equal partners within the alliance. He further added that it's time to march out together and to be more pragmatic for a NATO based on partnership rather than dependency.
We actually have a good message to say, which is now it's time to march out together, to be pragmatic, to be focused on the kind of flexible realism that the national security strategy and the national defense strategy are based on and really exhibit. And I think we have a really strong basis for working together in partnership, but putting NATO kind of a 3.0 NATO that's based a partnership rather than dependency, and really a return to what NATO was originally intended for.
And now let's get you an update on Russia-Ukraine conflict. Britain has committed $205 million to the so-called Prioritized Ukraine Requirement List or PURL initiative to supply Ukraine with US weapons. PURL was set up last summer to keep US weapons flowing to Ukraine at a time when new US military assistance had stalled. Committing the same, UK Defence Minister John Healey stressed that together we must provide Ukraine with the critical air defence it needs in response to Russian attacks. The scheme allows allies to fund purchases of American air defence systems and other critical equipments for Kyiv. Allies have already put forward over $4.5 billion through the programme. Meanwhile, the European Parliament too voted on Wednesday to approve a total of around $107 billion in loan to fund Ukraine's financial needs for 2026 and 27. Now, two-thirds of the package will be provided to strengthen Ukraine's defense and support procurement of military equipment, while the rest would be delivered as macro-financial assistance or budget support through European Union's Ukraine facility. New Delhi on Thursday said that India received an invitation from the United States to join the Board of Peace and is reviewing the same.
We have received an invitation from the US side to join the Board of Peace. We are currently examining the proposal. As you know, India has consistently supported efforts aimed at promoting peace, stability and dialogue in West Asia. Our Prime Minister has welcomed initiatives that provide a pathway towards long-term and sustainable peace in the region, including Gaza.
A proposed Gaza Board of Peace begun by President Donald Trump in late January has drawn mixed reactions. Israel has joined the Board of Peace during meetings in the United States, while Poland has declined to participate, citing reservations over the initiative. Commenting on the recent revisions made to the White House fact sheet for India-US trade agreement, the MEA spokesperson said the amendments reflect shared understandings of both the countries. India and United States had issued a joint statement on the 7th of February outlining the framework for an interim reciprocal and mutually beneficial trade agreement.
India and the United States, we had agreed to a joint statement on the framework for an interim agreement on reciprocal and mutually beneficial trade. This was issued on 7th February 2026. The joint statement is the framework and remains the basis of our mutual understanding in this matter. Both sides will now work towards implementing this framework and finalizing the interim agreement. The amendments in the US fact sheet reflect the shared understandings contained in the joint statement.
India's Trade and Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that around 90 to 95% of farm products produced in India have been left out of trade agreement with the US, in which the interests of the farmers have been protected. Piyush Goyal also stressed that the India-US trade agreement does not touch sensitive agriculture and dairy.
मैं मानता हूं लगभग 90-95% जो उत्पाद किसानों का होता है वो यूएस ट्रेड डील के बाहर है और जो भारत की आवश्यकता है जो हम आज भी इंपोर्ट करते हैं, जो हमारे देश में किसानों को किसी प्रकार का हानि नहीं पहुंचाएगा, ऐसे वस्तुओं को कैलिब्रेटेड मैनर में सोची समझी रणनीति तहत हमने अमेरिका को खोला है।
As per SBI research report, India's trade surplus with the US could exceed $90 billion annually. This growth has been driven by rising exports and higher import potential. The agreement with the US, back on the heels of wide arc of trade deals with the European Union and the United Kingdom, catapults India to a unique strategic position wherein the country is poised to gain much. The report says India's export of $1.36 billion of agricultural commodities will receive zero additional US duty access. India's export to US on agri-commodities is also set to jump as 75% will now be at zero tariff. Indian exporters could boost their top 15 items exports to the US by $97 billion yearly, with total exports potentially crossing $100 billion annually after recent tariff reductions. The trade surplus is already showing strong signs of growth. It reached $40.9 billion in financial year 25 and $26 billion in 26. The report said the extra export push could help the surplus push beyond $90 billion yearly, potentially adding 1.1% to India's GDP. The pilots and cabin crew of Germany's flag carrier Lufthansa are on a strike today. Their unions have called a 24-hour walkout. Joining us with more from Berlin is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu. Good evening, Chiponda. What is the latest that you're tracking on this?
Thanks for having me. Well, the strike began a minute after midnight and it will end at 11:59 p.m. German time. Now, for anyone flying with Lufthansa during that time period, there is, of course, a good chance that their flight won't be taking off today. And the airline, of course, has also said that affected passengers would be informed. But, of course, they can also check the airline website for any updates. Now, Lufthansa said that more than 400 flights at Frankfurt International Airport, which is, of course, Germany's busiest airport, will be cancelled. And there are, of course, also several hundreds of flights across the country that will be affected at other airports as well. And this strike will only affect the core Lufthansa brand. So other airlines that are part of the Lufthansa group, and that includes Swiss and Austrian, are not affected. But of course, passengers with Lufthansa connecting flights may be affected there as well. So what we do have, though, is pilots demanding higher pension contributions from Lufthansa and the cabin crew union UFO saying that its members are striking because there has been no movement on the main issues of disagreement with Lufthansa.
What can we expect from Lufthansa?
Changing course wouldn't be easy for Lufthansa. It does need to cut costs to remain profitable. And last year, it was aiming for a profit margin of around 8 to 10%. So that would, of course, also allow it to make cost savings investments, such as buying new fuel-efficient planes. And of course, it does also plan to move more flight operations to the airlines with cheaper personnel costs, like the budget airline Eurowings. Now, the airline group is yet to release its earnings for last year, but in 2024, its profit margin was below 5%. So we do have to wait and see how this dispute with the unions does play out. The strikes, of course, are very expensive because they do affect thousands of passengers, and they also hurt the airline's reputation. And in the first quarter of 2024, strikes cost Lufthansa around 350 million euros. So this strike, of course, won't be good for its balance sheet.
All right. Thank you so much, Chiponda, for joining us and getting us the latest on this. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with elected BJP Panchayat members, municipality members and corporation members from Kerala. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan addresses Bharat Bodhan AI Conclave in New Delhi.
मैसेज डियर इन्वेस्टर, एक एक्सपर्ट स्टॉक टिप खास आपके लिए। ये ऐप डाउनलोड करो और पैसे डबल करो।
एक्सपर्ट जी, बदमाश का बाप हूँ मैं। ऐप डाउनलोड करने से पहले मैं आपका पूरा रिपोर्ट कार्ड निकालूंगा। मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ।
डिस्टेंस यूपीआई कहता है अगर कोई ऐसी सलाह दे तो पहले एडवाइजर की पूरी जांच कर ले और कहे मैं मूर्ख नहीं। जाइए आप भी किसी का टेस्ट लीजिए।
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with elected BJP Panchayat members, municipality members and corporation members from across Kerala. The interaction was held at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg in New Delhi. At the interaction, which was held at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, BJP-led NDA won 50 wards in the 101 ward in Thiruvananthapuram Corporation, while the LDF was reduced to 29 wards, and all the winning members were present at the interaction with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also unveil the name of the building complex Seva Tirth on the 13th of February. Prime Minister Modi will thereafter formally inaugurate Seva Tirth and Kartavya Bhavan 1 and 2 and address a public program at the location. The inauguration marks a transformative milestone in India's administrative governance architecture and reflects Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to building a modern, efficient, accessible and citizen-centric governance ecosystem. For decades, several key government offices and ministries functioned from fragmented and aging infrastructure spread across multiple locations in central Vista. Now the dispersion led to operational inefficiencies, coordination challenges, escalating maintenance cost and suboptimal working environment. Now the new building complex addresses all these issues by consolidating administrative functions within modern, future-ready facilities. Seva Tirth houses Prime Minister's Office, National Security Council Secretariat, Cabinet Secretariat, all of which were previously located across different locations. Moving on, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday replied to the discussion on the Union Budget in Rajya Sabha a day after her address in the Lok Sabha. Sitharaman said the budget reflects the achievements of the people, highlighting that the country is witnessing a rare phase of high growth coupled with low inflation. Finance Minister said the budget has been designed keeping in mind the vision of a developed India over the next 2 decades while strengthening a resilient and self-reliant nation.
Is designed to lock in these gains, convert these macroeconomic stability factors into long-term productive capacities, and to extend this growth trajectory into the coming decade as well. So in this, Atmanirbharta is an important element, and that principle of Atmanirbharta will be kept in mind in everything that we plan for the economy. We have built domestic manufacturing capacity, and that is very obvious. And energy security is also something which we've kept in our minds while preparing the budget.
Palestine Ambassador to India, Abdullah Abu Shavesh, called India Big Brother, a title originally given by former President of the Palestinian National Authority, Yasser Arafat. The envoy thanked India for its significant development and humanitarian assistance to Palestine over the years, while also praising India's influence in global political discourse.
India was with us since the beginning of Oslo Accord and establishment of the Palestinian Authority. India just with us was still and will continue to be with the Palestinian people. And when it came to the sustainable development issue, and many projects has been established by India and Indian government. India gonna build a new hospital in Mustang, so that India is doing a lot of great job. Because we look to India as the big brother, and India is not only the big brother. And I spent 8 years in the United Nations, and I know now how much India influence when it came to the global political global voice decisions and all of these.
Palestine Ambassador to India, Abdullah Abu Shawish, reiterated that the two-state solution to its conflict with Israel and expressed hope in the Gaza War of Peace as the only way to ensure lasting peace. He also advocated for India's permanent seat and the resultant veto power in UNSC.
Reform of the United, I was there when we used to talk about the reform of the, yes, it's an old organization, but the reform of the United Nations did not mean that destroying the United Nations, likewise many other voices.
Increase the members of the...
Increase the members, and of course the Security Council, even either to eliminate or to have more countries such as India to have the veto voice, or to stop this veto at all.
Addressing the Bharat Bodhan AI conclave in New Delhi, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said the government is actively strengthening the integration of artificial intelligence in the education sector. He noted the work on AI in India's education ecosystem is advancing at a rapid pace, and the country possesses a strong and abundant talent pool. The minister said that AI will be incorporated into India's education framework from third standard to advanced research levels, not only as a subject of study, but also as a research theme. Now, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva will be visiting India from the 18th till the 22nd of this month. He will also be participating in the second AI summit. Take a listen.
Invitation of Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, His Excellency Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the President of the Federative Republic of Brazil, will be paying a state visit to India from 18 to 22nd February 2026. President Lula will be participating in the second AI summit, which is to be held from 19 to 20th February here in Delhi. The main day of the Brazilian state visit, bilateral talks, will be on 21st February. President Lula will be hosted by our President, Honorable President, on 21st, and there will be several other dignitaries who will be calling on him, including Honorable Vice President of India. President Lula will be accompanied by several ministers and a business delegation, and there are several events that have been planned engaging the business delegation as well.
Now, the upcoming AI India Impact Summit is the first ever global AI summit to be hosted in the Global South. The theme of this summit is Sarvajan Hitaya, Sarvajan Sukhaya, which means welfare for all and happiness of all, and is based on 3 sutras or the guiding principles, which are people, planet and progress. Now, as India gears up to host the landmark summit, let's take a look at how our missions and posts conducted 80+ events across the world as a build-up to the main event. And now let's get you the latest from the world of sports. At the ongoing T20 Cricket World Cup, India made a brisk start after Namibia skipper Erasmus won the toss and opted to field in their T20 Cricket World Cup match in New Delhi. Opener Ishan Kishan slammed an astonishing half-century as India notched up 85 in the first 6 overs. Kishan fell for 61 runs off 24 balls, while his partner Sanju Samson, who came in for Abhishek Sharma, was dismissed for 22 runs. Now the third wicket is also gone, but the hosts were 122 runs for the loss of 3 wickets now. India also included Jasprit Bumrah in the squad in place of Mohammad Siraj in the playing 11. Currently, the score is 122 for a loss of 3 wickets against Namibia. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.